Hello and welcome to another session of Daily Prelims Practice. Here we will take up MCQs based on important news and articles that have featured in The Hindu and Indian Express newspaper. Topics for today's discussion are displayed on your screen. Let's begin the discussion. The first question of today's discussion is based on this news which featured in The Hindu newspaper, page number 1. In this news, Supreme Court judge has raised concern over independence of election commissioners. As this is evident from the way the tenures of chief election commissioners have slid down from over 8 years in the 1950s to just about few hundred days after 2004. Now UPSC has been asking questions based on various constitutional bodies, especially Election Commission. As in 2017, it has asked question based on Election Commission. So let's take up today's practice question. Question is, with reference to Election Commission, consider the following statements. Statement 1 says, the Constitution has not prescribed the qualifications of the members of the Election Commission. Statement 2 says, as per the Constitution, the condition of the service of the election commissioners shall be determined by the Parliament. You have to identify the correct statements. Now the first statement is correct. As though the Constitution has provided several safeguards to ensure the independence and impartiality of the Election Commission, there is one major flaw, and that is the Constitution has not prescribed the qualification of the members of the Election Commission. Now for the second statement, let us have a look at the official text of the Constitution. Now as per Article 324 subclause 5, it says, subject to the provisions of any law made by Parliament, the conditions of service and tenure of office of the election commissioners and the regional commissioners shall be such as the President may by rule determine. So as the statement says, it is determined by the Parliament. This statement is incorrect and our correct answer would be A, that is 1 only. Now answer for this previous year question is D, that is 3 only. The next question is based on this news which featured in The Hindu newspaper, page number 1 and 10. Now this news is related to a disturbing development at Assam-Meghalaya border, where in exchange of fire 6 people have lost their lives and many others have injured. Now as this news is not directly important for the prelims perspective, UPSC has been asking various questions based on important physical features related to important places in news. As in 2014, it has asked question based on various hills located in India. So let's take up today's practice question. Question is, what is the correct sequence of the following ranges in Northeast India as one proceeds from north to south? Options are Bareil, Mizo, Mishmi and Mikir. Now here in the physical map of Northeast India, you can see the Mishmi hills are located at the northeastern tip of India in northeastern Arunachal Pradesh. These hills occur at the junction of northeastern Himalaya and the Indo-Burma range. Now here you can see Mikir Hills are group of hills located to the south of the Kaziranga National Park, Assam. The easternmost Meghalaya, comprising the detached Mikir Hills, is partly isolated and being surrounded by 3 sides. Karbi Plateau or Mikir Hills is known oldest landform in Assam. Now the Bareil Ranges is a tertiary mountain range in northeast India with an area of approximately 80,000 hectare between Brahmaputra and Barak Basin, stretching from Nagaland and Manipur to the east and Assam and Meghalaya to the west. Now Mizo Hills are mountain range in southeastern Mizoram state, forming part of the North Arakan Yoma system. Now you know that if one will move from north to south, he will first encounter the Mishmi Hill, then the Mikir Hills, then the Bareil Range and then the Mizo Hills. So correct sequence would be 3, 4, 1, 2 and that is B. Correct answer for this previous year question is C, that is 3 and 4. Now the next question is inspired by this news which featured in The Hindu newspaper, page number 4. This news talk about Tamil Nadu getting its first Biodiversity Heritage site. Now before moving to the practice question, you must know that Biodiversity Heritage sites are those areas that are unique, ecologically fragile ecosystem having a rich biodiversity. They can be terrestrial, coastal, inland or marine waters. Now under section 37 of Biological Diversity Act 2002, the state government in consultation with local bodies may notify the areas of biodiversity importance as biodiversity heritage sites. Now let's take up today's practice MCQ. UPSC has been asking questions based on important sites related to biodiversity, flora and fauna. As in 2022, UPSC has asked question based on Ramsar sites. So let's have a look at today's practice question. Question is, consider the following pair. In first column you have been provided with bioheritage sites and in next column you have provided with states. You have to identify the correct pairs. Now first option is Aminpur Lake. Aminpur is a small lake in the Indian state of Telangana and is on the edge of the city of Hyderabad. It is the first body of water in India to be recognized as biodiversity heritage site and is the first biodiversity site to be approved in an urban area. So this pair is not correctly matched. Glory of Allapalli was first designated for conservation in 1953 and in 2014 declared as the first biodiversity heritage site in Maharashtra. So this pair is correctly matched. Aritapatti village in Madurai notified as first biodiversity heritage site in Tamil Nadu. Now our today's news was related to this only. The Aritapatti village is surrounded by a chain of 7 barren granite hillocks that act as a watershed and support close to 72 lakes. The Anaikondan lake, built during the reign of Pandyas in the 16th century, is one among them. So this pair is also incorrectly matched. So our answer would be only one pair, that is A. Answer for this previous year question is B, that is 2 pairs. The next questions that we are going to take up today is based on this article which featured on page number 7 of the Hindu newspaper. Now this article talks about the significance of recently presented Personal Data Protection Bill. Now government is planning to put this bill into House of Parliament soon to get it passed. Now UPSC has been asking questions based on various provisions related to Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. As in 2020, it has asked question equating the powers of Rajya Sabha with that of Lok Sabha. Now let's take up today's practice MCQ. Question is, with reference to legislative procedure in the Parliament, consider the following statements. Statement 1 says, an ordinary bill receives detailed scrutiny and assumes its final shape in the third reading. Now this statement is incorrect. As you know, the bill introduced in the Parliament can be classified into 4 categories. First is ordinary bill, second is money bill, third is financial bill, and fourth is constitutional amendment bill. Now the Constitution has laid down separate procedures for the enactment of all the 4 types of bill. Now every ordinary bill has to be passed through the 5 stages in the Parliament before it finds a place on the statute book. Now during the second stage of reading, the bill receives not only the general but also the detailed scrutiny and assumes its final shape. And at third stage, the debate is confined to the acceptance or rejection of the bill as a whole and no amendments are allowed. So that makes our first statement incorrect. Statement 2 says an ordinary bill can be introduced either in Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha. This statement is correct. Now statement 3 says in case of an ordinary bill, a deadlock is deemed to have taken place if second house does not take any action for 3 months. Now this statement is again incorrect. As if an ordinary bill is passed in one house, it is transferred to the second house and it goes through all 3 stages of reading. And if the second house passes the bill without any amendment or the first house accepts the amendment suggested by the second house, the bill is deemed to have been passed by both the houses and the same is sent to the President for his assent. On the other hand, if the first house rejects the amendment suggested by the second house or the second house rejects the bill altogether, or the second house does not take any action for 6 months, a deadlock is deemed to have taken place. And to resolve such deadlocks, the president can summon a joint sitting of the two houses. So this statement is also incorrect as it mentioned 3 months. So as you have to find the incorrect statements, our option would be 1 and 3 only, that is C. Now answer for this previous year question is B. Now inspiration for our next question is based on this news which featured in the Indian Express newspaper page number 6. And news talks about a Telugu movie based on biopic of freedom fighter Khudiram Bose is to be screened for MPs. Now UPSC has been asking questions based on important personalities related to India's freedom struggle. As in 2017, it has asked question based on Keshav Chandra Sen. Now let's take up today's MCQ. Consider the following freedom fighters: Bhagat Singh, Praful Kumar Chauki and Khudiram Bose. Who of the above were actively associated with the Muzaffarpur conspiracy? Now before attempting this question, let us have some brief information related to Khudiram Bose. He was born in Medinapur in West Bengal. It was speeches of Aurobindo Ghosh and Sister Nivedita which prompted him to join the freedom struggle. In 1905, during the partition of Bengal, he became an active volunteer in the freedom movement. In 1908, Khudiram joined the Anushilan Samiti, and under Aurobindo Ghosh and his brother Barendra Ghosh, he got fully involved in anti-British activities. Its leader then decided to appoint Khudiram Bose and Praful Kumar Chauki to carry out the mission of assassinating Douglas H. Kingsford through a bomb attack. However, it was discovered later that carriage was carrying the wife and daughter of barrister called Pringle Kennedy. The Kingsford had escaped yet another attempt on his life. Khudiram was sentenced to death, making him one of the youngest revolutionaries in India to be hanged by the British. And Praful Kumar Chauki committed suicide. So this Muzaffarpur conspiracy was related to Khudiram Bose and Praful Kumar Chauki. So our answer would be A, that is 2 and 3 only. Now answer for this previous year MCQ is B, that is 2 and 3 only. Now our next question is based on this news which featured in the Indian Express page number 13. Now this news talks about India's abstentions in CITES vote on reopening of ivory trade. As we know, India has been at forefront in saving and protecting elephants. And in recent convention of CITES, that is Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, India abstained from a voting for reopening of ivory trade. Now UPSC has been asking question based on important organization related to protection of wild flora and fauna. As it asked a question in 2017 based on traffic. So let's take up today's MCQ. With reference to Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, that is CITES, consider the following statements. Statement 1 says it is an international agreement to which states and regional economic integration organizations adhere voluntarily. Now CITES is an international agreement between governments and its aim is to ensure that international trade in specimens of wild animals and plants does not threaten the survival of the species. Now statement 1 is correct as CITES is an international agreement to which states and regional economic integration organization adhere voluntarily. States that have agreed to be bound by the convention are known as parties. Now second statement says it is administered by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, that is IUCN. Now this statement is incorrect as it is administered by the United Nations Environment Programme, that is UNEP. Now third statement says it is legally binding on the parties and it takes the place of national laws. Now this statement is again incorrect as although CITES is legally binding on the parties, in other words, they have to implement the convention, it does not take the place of national laws. Rather, it provides a framework to be respected by each party, which has to adopt its own domestic legislation to ensure that CITES is implemented at the national level. Now at present, it has 184 members and India became 25th party in 1976. So as you had to find the incorrect statements, our answer would be C, that is 2 and 3 only. Answer for this previous year question is B, that is 2 only. That's all for today. Stay tuned for more such updates.